Hard work, the most raw and obvious way to reach something. Maxime Lagacé. Folks, our hard work is 10 to 15 minutes a day. The hard part is each and every day. No matter what's going on in your life, 10 to 15 minutes a day to follow the markets, to follow your favorite ETFs and stocks. As you get into this, you will develop a likeness, a favoritism for particular stocks. Maybe they're in the area in which you work, where you have some expertise. Maybe it's something that you've traded over time or that you develop, something business you're interested in, whatever it might be. We follow our 4 charts each and every day. Why? Because they move, because they're trackable, and because they're optionable. Those are good reasons, of course, to pick certain ETFs or stocks. We do the ones we do day in and day out for training purposes for you. Now, we have a great training for you at the website. If you are a subscriber, what we have today is we have cutting losses is the key to winning. That is the training. It's in your show notes. So again, if you're a subscriber, great, you're going to get that. If you're not, then you need to go subscribe at chartingwealth.com. It's free. By the way, Patreon supporters, we have our live question and answer call-in session this next Wednesday, as we always do the first Wednesday of each month. Live Patreon call-in session. If you have stocks or ETFs you want us to look into to help you track and follow, you have questions, that's what the live Q&A is all about. If you can't join us, we'll record it and we'll get to your question, and then you can listen later. I know some people are busy during the day, but the 12:30 hour Eastern Daylight Time, Eastern Standard Time, we aren't on daylight time yet here in the States. We will be recording that. We love to have you join us. Check your emails for the links to get into the program. Hey, that's where we are. Lots of interesting things happening in these markets. We see everything down big for the day, but guess what? Bitcoin, it's up almost a little over 2.5%. But look at how things are shaping up. Check out the S&P 500. What do we see happening? Well, we see a crossover. So watch your charts tomorrow afternoon, Friday, around 3:50 to see if you have a jumping in point for a practice trade going short. And that could be something like what? SH, which is the short fund of the S&P 500. It's a single short. Again, I want you to practice trade these things. If you're interested in a little bit of sophistication when it comes to the market, of course, you could just pull out, let the market go down, buy back in when it goes up in your practice trades, or you could check out jumping into something like a short fund. Or, of course, if you've taken our training or you've taken other training, you know about options, you can, of course, short the market with options. So something else for you to practice. Remember, at any of our 3 Patreon levels of support, you get that options made simple. Training the Charting Wealth Way. It's a 3-part series. First thing we send to our new Patreon supporters. So we see that it looks like, unless it's a big update tomorrow, it may very well have a weekly vertical crossover going down. Ding, 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 ding. That's important. Price percent oscillator crossing over, derivative oscillator going negative. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow afternoon. We see the 2-day chart. Of course, it already preceded in crossing over, derivative oscillator negative, price percent oscillator pulling away from the red signal line. What do we see on the half-day chart? Down in the morning, plunging in the afternoon. So we want to see that continuing to move. You might say, Tom, why do you want the market to crash? I don't want the market to crash. I just want it to move in the direction of the weekly vertical crossover and move strongly and for quite a while. We like our weekly vertical crossovers to work. And with a little sophistication, you can make money in your practice trades up or down. That's what it is all about. So hope you're filling out those trade worksheets as you practice. Now let's talk about what's happening on the NASDAQ 100. Same thing. Look at this big red down candle, crossover strongly, pulling away from the red signal line. Derivative oscillator gone strong red. First solid red down candle in many, many weeks. That's significant, my friends. 2-day chart, we see 3 red down candles plumbing deeper, crashing down. And what do we see on the half-day chart? Again, down in the morning, further down in the afternoon, setting ourselves up for a possible weekly vertical crossover. I think that's going to be more than possible, friends. I think that's probably going to be happening. So we'll wait, watch, and see. Remember, 350 right before the market closes is the time to practice jumping in on that, based upon all the charts all the time. What do we see going on in bonds? Hey, this 2-day recross has served us well, hasn't it, friends? Down again, 1.63%. Look at this big red down candle, just accelerating as bonds go down, down, down. Derivative oscillator, price percent oscillator, 2-day chart. Check it out. The biggest red down candle we've seen in quite a while as the crash accelerates in bonds. And of course, down in the morning, further down in the afternoon on that half-day chart. Check out jumping in point 150 or so. And what is the low so far? Down to a low of 136.61. Is that not beautiful? Of course, what is the single inverse? TBF, Tango Bravo Foxtrot. What do you see there? Check it out. Going up quite nicely. Again, that 2-day recross. Guess that happened back on the 3rd. If I remember my date correctly, somewhere around the 1650 mark, up to a high of 1814. And you might say, what's going on? These numbers are completely different. The way the inverse funds are set up is they're set to move in direct percentage opposition to the underlying fund. So again, if you're looking at TLT, yes, the price is completely different. That's just the way the inverse funds work, but they are set and primed to move inversely to the fund that is the basis of the inverse. So don't forget though, the fees are more. They're recalculated on a daily basis. So again, you need to practice this so you understand how it works. Some of these are not for you. People say, well, gosh, if I can do 1% when it goes up 1%, can I do 3 times or 2 times these leveraged funds? You can, but the costs are more and the risks are more. That's why we talk about practicing, my friends. That's what we're all about. Okay, lastly, before we touch on Bitcoin, we go to gold, 1.88%. Gold is down. It just keeps going, doesn't it? We had that 2-day recross. We'll touch on that in just a minute. But we see gold moving down, derivative oscillator, price percent oscillator on the weekly chart. 2-day chart, we've actually reached a lower low. How low did we get before? It was 165.73 and of course 165.45. So that's good. We're hitting a lower low on this latest 2-day candle. Derivative oscillator about flat, maybe losing a little bit of downward momentum, but that all-important price percent oscillator heading down. And the half-day chart, yes, crossed over, going down at the end of the day. So that is all good to see. Again, when things are consistently moving in the right direction, that 2-day recross, we got to backtrack a little bit. 2-day recross occurred back on the 14th. And what have we seen happen since then? Well, it slid around and up a little bit, dropped over, gathered its breath, plunged again. So again, as we see things moving down, gold just not heading up at this point. We'll continue to watch, see how low gold will go. So do be on the lookout for the potential weekly vertical crossovers in the S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100. Pick one of those two, the one you feel most comfortable with, if indeed the chart's set up for that weekly vertical crossover. And all the charts look good for that continuing. If it's a big up day tomorrow, might put you off a little bit. So again, practice, practice, practice. Doesn't cost you anything except that 10 to 15 minutes a day. Now we're going to lastly go to Bitcoin. Bitcoin up for the day, 2.64%. We look at the price percent oscillator. It's a little less than flat. There is virtually no derivative oscillator here at all. Just bizarro world there. But we see we're topping about where we had been as far as the high of the high goes. The candlestick moving up some. 2-day chart. Now that is what we kept telling you about. Where is it? Well, it looks like the price percent oscillator did not manage to cross over going down. There was enough up movement on that 2-day to keep it sustained, even though it is a red down candle, didn't cross over. So again, keep your powder dry, pay close attention, watch. This last 2-day crossover served you well, and of course you can take profits anywhere along the way. You can continue to hope, but if you start seeing, well, if you see this crossover going down, that is always a trigger for us to get out of a trade. Now that is your last chance to get out of a trade. There are chances all along the way to take your profits. Never a problem taking profits. It's if you get greedy and stay in too long that you get slaughtered. Remember, hogs get slaughtered. Now, what do we see on the half-day chart? Well, we can see that it plunged down back there on Tuesday, sort of leveled out on Wednesday, up on Thursday. So again, price percent oscillator still going down, derivative oscillator still negative. Pay super close attention again to that 2-day chart along with the weekly. That is, it's not hammering up right now. It may be getting ready to, but pay close attention. That's where we are, folks, as we end the day. Thank you for all the book purchases. We have an autographed copy waiting for you. If you don't have our book, Charting Your Way to Wealth, you need it. It'll help supercharge your training along with filling out those daily market worksheets, weekly market worksheets, trade worksheets. We have instructions on how to fill all of those out, and those worksheets are in your daily notes. Every day there's a PDF. You can print those off for free, fill them out as you listen to the show, and as you perform all of your practice trades. If you want to supercharge your training, that's what you do. God bless. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters. Mark your calendars tomorrow, 3:50, to pay attention to the S&P and the NASDAQ 100 for potential shorting opportunities in your practice trades. God bless.